Fall is calling, and so are apple spice chews from Curio Wellness. These fan favorite chews are back for a limited time, blending that crisp, juicy apple flavor with just the right kick of warm spice. They're basically autumn in an edible. Whether you're apple picking, peeping at some leaves, or just posted up on the couch in your hoodie with a football game on, that's what I'm talking about. Apple Spice Chews bring the flavor and the fun to every fall moment. And this year, Curio's got something new. Get ready, baby. The 1,000 milligram pack. That's 25 chews at 40 milligrams each. So plenty to keep the fall vibes going. Curio Wellness's 1,000 milligram apple spice chew pack now for a limited time.
Hey Tim, welcome to Greenway Audio Magazine, man. It's good to see you.
I love this podcast. Yeah, good to see you, buddy. You know, I was out of town.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Thank you. I was out of town.
You were literally out of town as I was texting you from a gummy fever at like 10 o'clock last night.
Well, I was on a plane and I was playing like solitaire because that's all I do on a plane. And I texted you, and then I played like 2 minutes of a game, and I was like, oh, let me just see if Brandon texted me back. 12 missed texts.
Please don't read those. Don't read those to people. I don't know if people know or not, but
tears were coming out of my eyes.
I injured my hand back in July, and I re-injured it much more severely about a month ago, and I may have been on substances that are not just THC gummies last night.
Well, pain relief.
Let's not read those to the class or anything, but suffice to say, I made up a rap about Tim being on a jet.
He did.
Hey, dude, you've been so fucking busy and doing so many things with Curio and stuff.
Yeah.
I had a question about what you've seen in Missouri and what you've seen pop up and what some of your favorite stuff going on in Missouri recently has been, whether it's Curio related or not, but now that you're in a lot more dispensaries and stuff on a regular basis.
I'm really just enjoying the Budtender community. I know that sounds like a boilerplate answer, but being able to like actually spend time and talk to them and get behind the counter and see how things are working, inventory. I mean, a lot of these facilities don't have a lot of space, like in the vault and stuff. So, you know, they're smaller buildings. So they're literally playing like Tetris every night, moving those carts around. Cause you know, you can't have product on the floor at night, right? Like it's gotta be off the floor. So these things are on rollers, dude. They have this down to a science. Like it is really impressive to see the organizational skills and like the gamification of trying to move these around and have them fit and have people still be able to walk through stuff. It's really cool. But
shout out to the Budtenders and the managers that are doing the planning for the layout of all the carts and stuff like that.
I don't know how they like. I go back for 2 seconds. I'm like, oh, sorry. Hey, sorry. Ooh, hey, I mean, people are walking through, ducking, bob and weaving the whole thing, and with a smile. And I love it. It's so cool. But yeah, I just much love to these Budtenders and GMs. My God, they work hard. Man.
You're going to be on the road again here in the next couple of days because you're going to be down at Springfield MoCann, right?
Yeah, MoCann Q4, dude. They're doing some really cool stuff this time. They took a page of the out of the MG Unpacked playbook, and they have 2 excellent and free education opportunities for their Q4 meetup. And it's for
November 18th.
Yeah. So the 17th and 18th, some people are showing up early and going to some events. But they have
because they're doing the learning sessions on the 17th. Or a learning session on the 17th and in the expo and stuff on the 18th, right?
Yeah. So they're doing free CSQ and QMS workshop and certification opportunity, and redefining growth, expanding the cannabis consumer base through a Return to Wellness, which is just, that's right up my alley, dude. Right up my alley, the Return to Wellness. And listen to this lineup, dude. Okay? Suede Dispensary, owner and partner, fan of the show, Mitch Myers.
Love Mitch Myers.
VP of Retail at Proper, Cardell Robinson. He's awesome.
That's nice.
I've exchanged a few emails with him. I have never met him in person, but I'm excited to see this. And then, close to my heart, Wendy Braunfein, the Chief Brand Officer of Curio Wellness. And then we got
Nice
Mary Kate Black, the Director of Retail, Flora Farms, who's killing it.
Oh, she's cool.
Killing it.
Yeah.
And then Rebecca Abraham, founder and CEO of Plesio Health. Have you heard of that?
I have not. I'm not.
God, I hope it's Plesio. Plesio. Maybe it's like Plesio. Maybe it's Italian. Is it Plesio?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be.
One more time for us.
Is it Plesio?
You hit it again? Oh, yeah. That's definitely what it is.
Plesio Health. I haven't heard of that. Rebecca Abraham.
So
RN.
Monday is the CSQ workshop and the certification.
Yep.
And then they have an early badge pickup and a meet and greet on Monday. And then on Tuesday, they're doing the expo and the brand showcase. One thing I was excited about was they're doing a microbusiness village at this one.
Sweet. For like little tiny people.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's right before Christmas, so it's for those Christmas villages.
Business village. I'm sorry, that just sounds like
they're going to do a micro
Christmas special, doesn't it?
Yeah. Then they're going to do a micro town hall. Amy Moore's going to be there with a program update.
Yeah.
And then I guess they're going to do the regular meeting, and then that's the panel discussion that you were just talking about before the after party and stuff.
Did you see who's moderating it? Friend of the show, Lori Parfit.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah,
dude. They're just going through
everywhere.
The Greenway archives and just like yank, yoink, pull this person. That's all right.
They did.
That's all
We've
right.
talked to a lot of people, man. This is episode 40-2. That's my favorite number, by the way.
Your favorite number is 42?
Yeah.
Shout out to Jackie Robinson.
Yeah.
Catch. Just speaking of shout outs, before we move on, Stash House is the main sponsor of the after party this year. Really cool after party in Kansas City with Vibe and Smokies and stuff. The little theme of the after party at this one is a night in the Stash House, and it has kind of a Willy Wonka vibe on the
cool
like advertisement and stuff. Another of our good friends, Doug Hall and the Cannabis Agency, are usually the ones putting those together. So stoked to see another really cool event there. We've got, I know you're getting ready to jet out here in a couple minutes, but I get to talk to Nicholas Rinella of
Nick.
OG Hippos, Sundro, OG Yields, Pony, Ada, Hugs.
Let's get into Hugs, man. Oh man, I can't wait to hear about this.
Oh,
I can't wait to watch your episode.
We were talking about favorite stuff. Have you tried the new Hugs product that's coming out?
No, you were telling me about it, and now I can't wait to see it. It's the spray, right?
Yeah,
gives your mouth a little hug.
Spray, THC mouth hugs. That's probably not what they want to call that.
No.
Hugs for your mouth. But yeah, super excited to talk to Nick, and I've been a big fan of a lot of their medical line, the Hugs medical line. They've got really good topicals and stuff like that, and so to see another thing that is a little more medical focused, a little more discreet and stuff like that. I got to sample it out at MJ Unpack. It was really good. It was really fun, and good little micro dose, as long as you just spray it once. If you treat it like Banaka and spray it like every 3 minutes to keep your breath refreshed, it does quickly climb.
Christy Rayfield too, OG in the business.
Dude, Christy Rayfield is genuinely one of my favorite people in the space.
She's
She's
awesome.
so kind, so
Yeah.
courteous, and
Yes.
so consistent. Like, she's just always on. I hate to say on, because I think people take that as like a false
Yeah, it's
thing,
not her.
but she really
She's
is. Like, she just
yeah,
lights up a room whenever she walks
she
in.
does.
Uh,
She does. I'm excited to see her at Q4. I would like to say is that I thoroughly enjoy these meetups. I've been going since day one and I freaking love it, especially when it's a little, small out of town trip. Get to hang with everybody. Oh, it's so much fun. It's just such a great community. And Andrew and Melissa and Mark Wiley, like they do such a great job over there at MoCann. And it's just cool to see it all put together. I'm talking to Doug this afternoon because Curio is a sponsor this year
Curio is a
again.
sponsor.
Yeah. And so I'm going to kind of brainstorm some ideas with him because he is all knowing when it comes to these type of events.
Mad scientist when it comes to activations and
Oh, yeah.
people engagement.
That's him.
I would like to do one of my favorite things. Ouch.
Yeah.
I would like to do one of my favorite things real quick before I let you go.
Yeah.
You normally do this to everybody else, but since you've been just going nonstop, I can only imagine that you've got a plane playlist, a driving playlist, a riding in the passenger playlist. Can you drop a few of the things that you've been listening to the most recently?
Yes. I listen to Sleep Token every time I'm on a plane because I have to pay attention to every word and every nuance to the songs. So I re-listened to their album Sundowning like 3 times on this flight, and the new President EP, which I absolutely love. And anything you text me, I enjoy.
I think I texted you. Who did I text you last night? It was
Heat.
so random. Yeah, Imogen Heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super random, but also like that song was on repeat all day yesterday at my house.
Great. I love it.
I will tell you, I recently introduced a friend of mine to Loathe via Sleep Token because Loathe and Sleep Token
that's
from a couple years ago.
Yes.
Whew,
that song
one of my
is
all-time favorite songs.
so good.
It's like heart-wrenching.
It is. Oh, it's so good. They're amazing. I saw them open for a Spirit Box earlier this year. They're so good at the pageant.
Metal bands have such random fucking names.
They do. Loathe Spirit Box.
I love it.
Well,
hey man,
I love you, buddy.
I know you've got to bail.
Nick.
I love you. Please continue being as handsome and wonderful as you are. And I will see you and talk to you very soon.
Okay. Good luck. Hugs.
Hey guys, Brendan and Turkey Tim here to tell you what we're thankful for this November. And what we're thankful for is Kind Goods. That's right, Kind Goods. We're thankful for the lovely staff. We're thankful for the bright and welcoming locations. We're thankful for the community interaction. And most of all, we're thankful for the high fidelity house of brands with good taste edibles, pinpoint extracts, and daybreak flower. You can't ask for more than that, but you get it at Kind Goods because you get service with a smile. You get some of the most knowledgeable staff in the industry. Gosh darn it, you just get a good experience and a good vibe in a warm, welcoming atmosphere. So this November, while you're giving thanks, hit up Kind Goods. Welcome back to Greenway Audio Magazine. I'm here with Nick Rinella of OG Yields, Sundro, Ada, Bad Pony, Hippos. We'll just go with what's on the hat and say Hippos. Do you say Hippos or do you say Hippos?
I say Hippos.
Okay, I'll start saying Hippos then. My daughter corrected me one day because she said, "Dad, that definitely says Hippos," and I was like, "No, I think it's different. Just calm down, 8-year-old." And now I have to go back and apologize and eat some crow. So thanks for that. But it's awesome to have you on, man. This has been a long time in the making, but you've always been super open and one of the more outspoken people in the cannabis industry in Missouri since its inception, just kind of about everything. And always in a positive way. I don't think I've ever heard you speak only in negatives about anything, even some of the hard issues that we've discussed with DCR and, different market complications and things like that. You always tend to look at it very pragmatically through a business perspective, but also through a lens of, there's real implications to everything that happens. So first, welcome. And second, thank you for always being willing to talk and being a person that, has a viewpoint that's valuable to everybody in the room.
What an introduction. Well, thanks for having me, Brandon. I really appreciate that.
I've never been known as a man of few words, so
Yeah, I love it. I need to have you introduce me to everything.
absolutely, man. You let me know. So one of the reasons we've got you on right now is because you guys just recently launched what is fast becoming one of my favorite new products. It's the HUGS THC oral spray. I don't know what the official name of it is.
Yeah, so it's a our Hugs oral breath spray. I have I don't know if you can see this. This is one that hasn't been labeled yet, but a tester that I had. So I didn't have any of the new ones are all out on the market, but yeah, these are kind of like if you remember the old Banaka breath sprays. They honestly taste a lot like them. And the effects of them are great. So it's a sublingual breath spray. It's great for a lot of different, reasons. If you're looking to be discreet, that's a plus. This does not smell like cannabis. There's some advantages to having vapes where you want to be discreet. Maybe you don't have a cannabis flavored vape. And so you want to use that at a place where people aren't going to notice the smell, but you still have to exhale. And I think a lot of your listeners and viewers have probably been in a spot where they thought they were being discreet, and then there's a cloud around them. Lord knows I've been that person before. So there's no kind of aftershock of clouds that's coming out of your mouth after you use this. This is a sublingual spray. It's also great just from a medical aspect. That's why we put under our Hugs line. That is more of our wellness line. We have a THC salve, and then we utilize emu oil as the carrier, and then we have some tinctures as well. But this is really part of our wellness line, although you can use it for a lot of different occasions. But it being discreet is great. The fact that it's sublingual, so if you have any kind of digestive issues, for people that are missing like their gallbladders, anybody that has like malabsorption, the nice thing is you don't have to inhale it. So from a health standpoint, if you're looking to get away from inhalables, this is a great option. It's also instead of it doesn't have to go through digestive tract like a traditional edible would. And then the other thing is it's fast acting. So we use nanotechnology. It's highly bioavailable. So you're going to feel those effects a little faster than what you would from an edible. It's going to be closer to something that you would inhale, which is just nice for dosing. When you're trying to figure out how much of this should I take, I think a lot of people have been down the path where they think a 20 milligram edible is not enough. And so they have another 20 milligram edible. And then they realize 40 minutes later that maybe that first one was enough, but now it's time to go on a ride.
I'll be honest, man. I've been singing the praises of this ever since MJ Unpacked. I was able to get a sample while I was out there whenever I was talking to you, and within the first 20 minutes, I must have told 13 people about it because I took it. 5 minutes later, I started to feel it, if not sooner. And by 10 minutes, I was like, "Oh, this is nice." Like it wasn't I'm a really low dose guy. 5 milligram gummies are my wheelhouse. 10 milligram if I'm in a lot of pain, and 20 milligrams if I want to go to sleep immediately.
Yep.
So this was a really nice. I think it was around 3 milligrams on the dose.
Yeah, it's 3 milligrams, and it's also like, because it's sublingual and the bioavailability of it, it's going to act like it's a little bit more than 3 milligrams. That just like any of these milligrams you're talking about, 5 milligrams may be different for you one day as opposed to the next, because it's just how much you're going to actually absorb and take in. So the technology that this comes from is the nutraceutical industry, and the company that we work with to be able to produce this and to keep it consistent and to keep it from gunking up or having any type of issues for the user. They built this technology out for vitamins. And so this is for people that were having issues with malabsorption and different kind of health issues, and being able to provide them a method to administer vitamins to them. And so we're taking that same technology and using that for cannabis. And to your point, it's a low dose at 3 milligrams, although 3 milligrams of this will take you a lot further than 3 milligrams of a edible. But, if you'd like, you can spray it 10 times. And it is a fine mist, so it's not like you're going to be squirting yourself and drinking this. This
Right.
is just a fine mist, and you can really dose it out. And I think people appreciate that. And it's nice because it's exciting because it's a new method of administration. I'm very proud of all of our products that we produce down in Vienna, Missouri. We have vapes, we have flour, we have edibles, we have concentrates, but so does everybody else. And so there's some things I think that are really great about our vapes that we do a little bit differently, and some of that's just the flavoring. We may have a unique flavor profile. We have a root beer flavored vape that tastes just like a root beer float.
It really
under our
does.
ad line, and it's great, but it's also just another vape. So this is a very unique thing that nobody else has, and I think really is going to take the market. I think is going to appreciate, and it should drive some additional traffic, I think, to dispensaries, and it's going to give people an opportunity. I think this is great for people that are cannabis curious, and then people that have just had other methods of administration, and this is a good way for them to utilize the product and get the benefits of cannabis without necessarily inhaling or eating it.
I will say, and this is anecdotal, but one of my best friends is a nurse, and my children's pediatrician. I showed both of them this within like the first 5 days that I had it, and they were through the moon. They absolutely loved it. The nurse was super excited about it being, something easy, and it wasn't necessarily cannabis flavored. It truly tastes like, Banaka breath spray, and, leaves you a little minty fresh and stuff. But from the pediatrician's perspective, she liked that it wasn't candy. She liked that it wasn't something that for a pediatric patient, the parents, you have to sit there and watch them chew it up and everything else. This is super quick and easy. Spray it under the tongue or in the pocket of the cheek, and it's super controllable. But it's a lot quicker than trying to get an autistic kid to sit there and eat, especially if they have different issues with textures and flavors and colors, and you can only have so many gummies before all of a sudden you don't like red anymore, type of thing, whenever you're 5 or 6 years old sometimes. So there was a lot of while it's awesome as a recreational product, I was really excited about it from the medical perspective, and I was really happy to see that it came out under the HUGS line, because I've been a big fan of the salves and stuff you guys have done as well. that's the that and shout out to Maddie and the folks over at Heartland, but I pretty consistently bounce back and forth between Hugs and Heartland to give to my mom. So
We'll love to hear that. Yeah, those guys are great over at Heartland as well. And our tagline at Hugs is Hugs Help. So,
dude, it does. It really does. Tim, whenever we were talking about it before you joined us, he had to hop. He called the breath spray mouth hugs, and I was like, I don't think they're going to go with that.
Well, we'll put that on the marketing whiteboard.
I know you guys, we kind of ran through it whenever you first got on, and I feel like we're all over the place going rapid fire, but you're on a limited amount of time today, and I want to try and get as much in as we can. You guys have a house of brands that you have built, with Hippos being the retail chain, but you mentioned Atta, you mentioned the Atta vapes. I'm a big fan of the little game day vapes that you guys have, the disposable. We don't use the term disposable anymore. We use the term all-in-one vapes. I learned that from Monarch. They've done a great job of trying to fix some of the issues with all-in-one vapes being, not nature friendly and recycling batteries and stuff. So, try and stay on the right side of that. But I'm a big fan of that. But the thing that I've become increasingly more a fan of over the last few months is the gummy rings that you guys have. I had the peach a while back, loved it, but what really got me was the multi-flavor pack with the different colored rings. And for me, as a dude that doesn't eat a lot of candy but loves edibles, that was perfect, because I'm not locked into one flavor. I'm not locked into buying one bag and then I don't like peach Bellini, mojito, whatever, and I just spent $20 to $50 on a bag of gummies. So thank you for making something that kind of touches on all the different flavor profiles that I enjoy.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your endorsement. When we came out with the added gummy rings, we use full spectrum distillate when we're producing those, so you're not just getting THC, you're getting some of the other cannabinoids in there as well. But we really, we didn't want to reinvent the wheel, as you mentioned, the pineapple mojito. I mean, these are really traditional, candy flavors that we have, very similar to what people grew up with. You're going to see a cherry and a watermelon and a peach and a blue raz, and they are pretty straightforward flavors, and they taste good. And the reason that they're so popular outside of cannabis is because they taste good and people like them. And so, we just didn't get that creative. We didn't try to get overly creative when we made those. We wanted to stick with something that people were familiar with and that they already enjoyed, because we want cannabis to be an enjoyable experience, really, not just from the effects, but from the taste and everything else. So I'm glad that glad those are approved by Brandon.
I will tell you, the multi-flavor Atta gummies and an hour or two of PlayStation is the perfect thing if you're home alone on a Friday night, man.
I believe that.
I know you guys also have one of my favorite concentrate brands in the state, which is Bad Pony. I love Jason and loved his story. He was one of the first people we ever interviewed as we were starting the podcast off and stuff like that. I think you guys have some new products coming out from Bad Pony as well. Am I right about that?
We do, and I'm glad you touched on Jason. So when you're mentioning Jason, you're talking about Giddy Up, who was the the inventor of live resin, which I always love when people challenge it and say, "Oh, well, he wasn't the inventor. So and so is the inventor." And Giddy Up's rebuttal is, "Well, why didn't they tell anybody? If they invented it, why didn't they let anybody else know?" Because when you Google who invented it, the only person you can find is Giddy Up. So he either had a really good PR team that shut everybody else down, or he's the guy who actually did it. And I'm going to go with the latter. So we're blessed to have him as our lab director. Our live resin concentrates have always done really well for us under the Bad Pony line. I know we recently won first place at the Missouri Growers Cup for our diamonds. And right now we're coming out with, we just hit the market with our live sauce Keif Cones. So unlike a lot of infused pre-rolls that are out there, there'll be, essentially a flower pre-roll that'll be injected with some distillate or possibly painted on the outside, distillate painted on the outside of the cone, and then Keif will be sprinkled on the outside, which looks for a very nice product. But what we've done is we infuse the flower with live sauce. So you're going to get, that's going to up your cannabinoids and really your terpene profile. And then we take the Keif, which is, something that we would have all done back in the day, was in our little Keif catcher, catching all that Keif. And then eventually you're going to sprinkle that on your bowl or within your pre-roll that you're getting ready to roll. When you're rolling joints, that not a lot of people are doing that anymore, but so we're kind of bringing that back, and we've got
That's
the
Tinkerbell,
right? We've got the Keif and we've got the sauce in there, and so it's going to be evenly dispersed throughout that pre-roll, and it has a nice burn on it. So you're going to get that
That's
consistent
awesome.
burn all the way through. Unfortunately, sometimes when you're enjoying a infused pre-roll, you'll hit the oil and it turns into Greek fire. And that's one thing we wanted to avoid, because I've been down that path, and next thing you know, you're like, my leg's on fire, and you look down and you've got a little thing of oil burning a hole through your jeans. So
Shout out to Moon Valjean for the Greek fire reference.
isn't that the truth? So we will, we're very excited about these infused Keif cones, and I think the consumer is going to enjoy them as well.
I love that you guys, one of the focuses was the experience of actually consuming it. Because I think sometimes in the cannabis industry, we focus so much on how can we make this bigger? How can we make this better? How can we make it, more accessible or more easy or whatever, that we sometimes forget the part where it goes, okay, we've made the packaging, we've made the product, we've, made the flavor, we've done all these other things, but how does it actually function? And I feel like sometimes we've lost functionality. One of the worst things to happen is to try and smoke an infused pre-roll or a hash roll or something like that and have massive canoeing where you're only getting, flour from one side and it's not burning evenly, and then it tastes gross if you try and go back and relight it from the other end. So the fact that you guys have made the burn experience one of the focal points for me is huge, because as a consumer, that's what I'm concerned about. I love innovation. I love progression. I love new. But at the end of the day, I just want it to function, and for me to not, have to worry about, how I'm going to fix the mistake that was overlooked. And it sounds like that's one of the main things you guys have focused on across, all of your products, going back to the new HUGS breath spray, is your partner on this is someone that prevents all the possible issues of what can go wrong, essentially.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, Brandon, because for us, that's something we have to focus on. I mean, we've been around since the inception. We were one of the first 10 cultivation licenses up and running. We're one of the few companies that still has the original ownership out of Missouri. But we're essentially, at this point, a boutique operator. Good Day Farms, I'm not sure how many stores they have, but they're 50, 60 stores. They're on the larger end of the scale. But where we're at with 3 stores and a production facility, we are at the smallest end of the scale at this point. And so we don't have the luxury of trying something and it being a failure or having a false start. I don't have 30 stores or 20 stores to run my products through if it doesn't work out for me. And so we really do put a lot of focus into R&D and ensuring that the products actually work the way that they're intended. which is why we haven't had a infused pre-roll up to this point. We did try a lot of different methods. We wanted to come up with something that would be enjoyable for the consumer, because we just don't have the opportunity to have a false start with any of our products. So we pay a lot of attention as we're making things, and the user experience is always the thing that's top of mind. I mean, that's the one thing that we have to perfect. And it's like, any other, business that's consumer facing, whether it's a restaurant or you're making a beverage or whatever that may be. It's all about, maybe not necessarily how it looks, although you want the presentation to be great. But at the end of the day, it's how it tastes, how it performs, what the service is like. And so that's where we really try to excel. We certainly make mistakes along the way, but that is something we are very focused on, is the consumer experience.
It seems like one of the things you guys have focused that correlates to your focus of consumer experience, and kind of goes back to what you were just saying about the R&D process and different iterations of trying things. You guys seem pretty protective of your brand names. You've got a house of brands, but at the end of the day, it seems like you're focused on, if we're going to put it out, then it has to be final product ready. It's not beta test 1, beta test 2, going out to consumers and getting feedback. It seems like everything you guys put out is consistently final product ready.
Well, I appreciate you noticing that. And to your point, I mean, that's just what we have to do. We have to make sure it's final product ready before we take it to the market. With being a boutique operator, we don't have a second bite at the apple. So if it doesn't work the first time, it's dead. And so we don't want to have, we don't have the luxury of missing that many times. Now we're going to miss a few shots here and there, but overall, we haven't missed. So there's been some times that, hey, this isn't exactly what we were hoping for, and we want to flush that through. But any major product launches, like with the breath spray, with the infused pre-rolls, we're going to make sure that product is ready for the mass market.
We touched on it at the beginning with the name drop, and a little bit just on the fact that you guys have a combined cultivation and production facility, and you were one of the first facilities in the state that was fully operational in the early days of medical. You guys have, over the last 2 years or so, really upgraded what's going on in your output from your cultivation and your grow rooms. And it seems like you guys have had a lot of success in diversifying some of your genetics, and also you guys have some one of ones type of things. We saw the Brett Hull a few years ago. It seems like cultivation is playing a very important part of making everything else that comes out from Bad Pony and Atta as good as it can be. Is that strategic, or is that just what it has to be in order to be able to sustain in the way that the market currently sits?
Well, I think that's something that everybody's trying to do, and so we're doing our best in Vienna. So our Sundro line is really our premium flower, and so you'll see a lot of those newer strains, and you're talking about strain diversity and adding genetics. So that's really the first place that people will find those new strains, and which everything is hand trimmed. I know that's something I think that's unique to us, and when we're hand trimming it, it's really to keep the integrity of the flower as best we can for the consumer, so they get the best version of what we're growing. But when we're looking at genetics, we're looking at things that we're looking at to see what the consumer wants, and that's what we're blessed to have a dispensary, because we get a good look at not just what we're producing, but what other people are producing, and what is driving consumer decisions and what they're looking for. Now, with cultivation, it takes a while to grow things. So from the time I plant something to the time it's actually in a package for the consumer, it's going to be around 6 months. So there is a little bit of trying to look around the corner and not just look what's in front of you. but we have brought in a house of genetics based off of what we believe that the consumer is looking for. A lot of that is high THC products. So we noticed a lot of the consumers are looking for items that are high THC, but they also want some flavor in there as well. And so we try to give a wide range of, we have strains like grape cream cake that taste and smell just like a grape soda. And then we have some funkier strains like Animal Ice that is, tastes like it smells like a gym locker. So when you're looking for that funk, we have that as well. But really, you do have to have everything dialed on your cultivation side, because without good flower, you're not going to win any of these concentrate competitions. Because what the concentrates are is effectively a concentrated version of that flower. So you could have Jason Giddy Up Emo as your lab director, and whoever else might be the greatest extractor in the world. But if you're giving them junk to begin with, they can only give you junk on the other side of that. So in order to get great concentrates, you have to have great flower. We are lucky to have a great lead cultivator. So I've been friends with Giddy Up for little over half a decade now. He introduced me to Bobby Hoover, who is our director of cultivation. Bobby was the head of cultivation over at a outfit in Colorado named Cut Above, which are known for being one of the best cultivators in the country. And so we had the benefit of his little over a decade of growing experience, and then growing and running one of the most elite cultivators in the world. Have him come to Missouri and help us out has been huge. And
I've been a big fan of Bobby, and he's one of those people that within the first 5 minutes of talking to him about plant genetics and grow methods and cultivation and stuff, you quickly learn that not nearly as much as you thought you knew. And I 100% understand why Jason introduced you, because Jason's a big fan of the phrase fire in, fire out, input, output type of stuff. And that was one of the things that he talked about whenever we had our first really long conversation was, the best part of what he does is exhibiting the plant as purely as he can, because that's the whole goal.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it makes Giddy Up's job a lot easier when Bobby's growing great flower. So that was the benefit of Giddy Up's, being able to tap into his network. And, he has his choices of who he wants to work with. And luckily, I've been in this industry for quite some time as well. So I knew a few people, but Bobby's by and far the best grower that I've ever run into. Not that there's not a lot of other great growers out there, but in order for Giddy to be able to do his job and do his job effectively, he needs a good grower at the helm. And so we have that. And to your point, fire in, fire out. I think anybody that tries our concentrates will be able to see, hey, these guys must have some really good flower, because without that, you can't have these really good concentrates.
On the retail side, whenever you guys launched, you were towards the top of the hierarchy. The original license process for medical in the state was a maximum of 5 dispensaries, 3 manufacturing and 3 cultivation licenses. And we saw a few companies like Greenlight that were able to stretch the brand a little bit farther because of the way that they structured some of their licensing and branding deals and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if you had 3 dispensaries, you were still near the top of that. Now, 5 dispensaries, 3 dispensaries, 2 dispensaries is an independent operator. And you guys are a vertical, but you're a vertical that is on the retail side much closer to North and Easy Mountain than to Good Day Farm and Codes at this point. What has the evolution of this industry and your your position and the relationships that you've built since you've been one of the leaders, in my opinion, of the Missouri industry for so long, how has that impacted you, and what's your opinion on where the market in Missouri is going, especially with the launch of the micro businesses and us now starting to see a few micro businesses, micro dispensaries open up and have products on shelves and stuff?
Well, fortunately for myself, like you mentioned, is I've been in this since the beginning. So as consolidation happened, a lot of the consolidation happened within a lot of the operators that were here, and then some of these new operators came in, but it wasn't a lot of new faces that I had to learn. And so since I've been in since the beginning, I already knew a lot of these people. So as far as getting in touch with different operators and things like that, it hasn't been a overall it hasn't been tough on us. So we've been able to stay in front of the buyers and maintain the relationships with the other retail outlets. Now, through that consolidation, you do lose some of the people that you had great relationships with. They move on to other ventures and they're just no longer in the industry. So I think one of the big things that has changed for us, like you said, is we were at 3 stores, and I don't know if we were on the high end, but we were definitely weren't on the low end of the amount of stores that we had. As things have changed, we've essentially lost our leverage. We don't have the same leverage that we once had as a vertical operator. And so we have to make sure that our products really stand out and that can survive on their own without the retail. Because we don't have the same benefits of all these other independent operators that we once had. So that's been really the big change, is we have to make sure that our products are on point at all times. We can't have any false starts. We can't come out with a product and it not work. It has to work every single time. Otherwise, we're going to fall on our face and we don't have anywhere to put these products. I think the evolution of the space, you're going to continue to see consolidation. You're going to have these independent operators that are either going to put out great products or they're going to go out of business. I don't see the larger entities that you mentioned slowing down. I don't think they're going to start producing less in order for other operators to fill those gaps. I think they're going to work to produce more, and there's going to be less gaps, and there's the space between the wall and the wallpaper is going to get a little bit thinner. And I think that's where we're operating, is between the wall and the wallpaper right now. We just need to make sure that we have the products that nobody else has, and we give our retailers a reason to purchase from us, which we want to be able to provide the utmost customer service. We want to be easy to work with, and then on the retail side, we want to be an easy place for consumers to go to. My thing with Hippos is I always wanted my mother to be comfortable walking into our dispensary, interfacing with our Budtenders, and not feel like she's in a place that she doesn't belong. I've also wanted the cannabis connoisseur to be able to walk into our dispensary and have an intelligent conversation with our Budtenders. So I think for us, it really comes back to consumer experience. And I think that's what everybody's going to have to ensure, that unless you're the largest guys out there, you really need to focus on consumer experience. And so that's what we're focused on.
I know you have a hard stop coming up, but I think for me, just to let you know, I think that's the thing that makes everything you guys do special, from retail through cultivation through manufacturing, is that the focus on consumer experience truly seems to shine through with you guys. And so as a consumer, as a patient, and as an industry participant, I appreciate that. Is there anything else you'd like to leave us with before you sign off for the day?
go find your HUGS breath sprays at a dispensary near you in Missouri.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate you.